Hello and welcome to our Meet the Scientists and the Mentors and the Finalists of the 3M Young Scientist Challenge, this fun series of events we're hosting this week where you get to meet the brilliant minds behind what we call the 3M Young Scientist Challenge, what you're going to get to know so much more about by the end of tonight's event. Hello, everyone. My name is Kyle Shutt with Discovery Education. I will be your moderator for this evening's panel, and I'm so honored to be here. If you're new to the 3M Young Scientist Challenge, get ready, get set, buckle in, because you're about to be blown away at the brilliance of our young scientists and the dedication of their scientists, their mentors that have provided help and support throughout this entire summer. So on behalf of Discovery Education, we're so excited to get started. This has been a 13-year partnership, and we're so excited that you're joining in, especially if you're new. Now, this year, a little bit of a different format, and that's why we're here with you tonight. We're so excited because you get an exclusive look behind the scenes. Typically, we would be together, and although for obvious reasons we can't do that, we do have the opportunity to get to know these folks just a little bit closer, get this little behind the scenes glimpse. So as a result, what that means is you also get to ask some questions, we get to go through the event and have a fun conversation. And we're just so honored that not only do we have the 3M scientists with us, do we have the student finalists with us, but we also have a very special 3M executive with us this evening. Tonight, Ms. Mojda Pool is with me, and she leads 3M's healthcare business group. So that includes medical and oral care, health information systems, and food safety. Mojda, how are you this evening? It's so nice to see you.
I'm doing great. It's good to be here. It's great to be with you. And I want to thank you, Kyle, for moderating this session for us. And I want to thank everybody for tuning in. As Kyle said, my name is Mojda, and I lead the healthcare business for 3M. And as you can see, you're about to see, the programs that we're going to be talking about today are healthcare related. So as such, they're near and dear to my heart. So I'm honored to be joined also by the finalists, Sam and Anika. And for those of you who may not know about the program, the 3M Young Scientist Challenge is a one-of-a-kind national science competition which seeks to spark the curiosity in the middle school age students and empower them to bring up their ingenuity in a way that's going to change and improve lives. So the winner of this competition is going to be receiving $25,000 scholarship and the title of America's Top Young Scientist of the Year. And today we'll learn about this year's finalists, their projects, and get a glimpse into what makes this program really the most special that it is, and that is the relationship and bond that goes on between the mentors and the young scientists. So with that, to get started, I'm going to turn it back over to Kyle. So Kyle, take it over.
Thank you. And really, we want to invite you in. As I mentioned earlier, you do have the opportunity to ask questions. So find that little chat icon, Q&A box, and submit those questions. If something comes to mind, we'd love to answer those at the end of the session here this evening. But let's go ahead and jump right in. So we're going to introduce our first finalist and mentor pair. And I'm really excited. This young man, Sam Rao from Ashburn, Virginia, is with us, along with his mentor, Mary Crusoe Daly. Hi, guys. Are you there? Let's start there.
Hi, Kyle.
All right, Sam, are you there? All right, I hear them both. So, all right, first things first, we can hear you. We're loud and clear. So one of the things, as we've said a couple of times here, that makes this competition special is that the students have the chance to work with a scientist for several weeks on end, okay, throughout the summer. And so we thought it might be fun, nice, special, unique, hopefully maybe a little humorous, we'll see, to just test our mentors and see how much they truly did learn about their finalist project. So, Mary, that means you're on the hot seat first, if you don't mind. Can you give us your best elevator pitch for Sam's project? And Sam, I want you to listen real close, see how she does.
Okay, so current telemedicine platforms lack the ability to transmit a very important piece that would help diagnose respiratory diseases, which is breath sounds. Sam developed Boreas, which is a unified hardware-software solution that allows these breath sounds to be recorded and then transmitted to a physician for their diagnosis. In the hardware part, he designed a stethoscope that plugs into a microphone that goes into the user's phone, records those breath sounds, and then in the companion app that Sam developed, it uploads that audio file and sends it directly to the physician for their diagnosis. In a time like this, I think this invention is going to save a lot of lives.
That's powerful, but Sam, you're the ultimate judge here. We got to reverse the roles a little bit. So how'd she do? Did she miss anything? Anything you'd add?
Dr. Daly, I think your description was pretty spot on because it covered like all the major aspects of my project, like how it's like a hardware software solution and is used to capture and transmit breath sounds. As you saw in like the infographic, telemedicine is an exciting and emerging field to work on. And I hope that my innovation one day can make a difference in people's lives. But overall, it was a really good elevator speech.
Sam, I would agree with you there. It sounded like she was quite buttoned up. So let's go ahead to our second finalist and mentor pair for the evening and go ahead and introduce them. So first, starting from Frisco, Texas, we have Miss Anika Shabrudu, and we have her mentor at the 3M division, Materials Resource Division, is Mafuza Ali. So here we go. Mafuza, are you ready? First, can we hear you? Are you there?
I'm here.
All right, so it sounds like you're there and you're ready to go. Anika, are you there? Can we hear you tonight?
Yep, I'm here.
All right, well, you know how the format goes. So Mafuza, give us your best elevator pitch, and Anika, keep that critical ear.
Okay, here I go. Anika started her research on drug discovery last year when she set out to help ease the mortality caused by the flu virus by identifying a potential anti-influenza drug-like molecule. In light of the COVID-19 pandemic early this year, Anika wanted to help us all and devoted her time and energy, and she modified her previous project to develop a potential drug-like molecule against the SARS-CoV-2 virus. Using the in silico methodology of the drug development, she identified a molecule that can bind to the spike protein of the SARS-CoV-2 virus. And this could be possible antiviral drug to combat the COVID-19 pandemic and help us all overcome this deadly disease. Stay tuned for her final presentation on October 13 to learn more about her discovery and the plan going forward. Thanks.
All right, Anika, what do you think? Anything to add?
Yeah, Dr. Lee, that was a really great description of our project, really well-rounded. And as you all know, the COVID-19 pandemic has caused extensive morbidity and mortality all across the world. And I chose to target the spike protein of the SARS-CoV-2 virus because of its importance in the viral infectivity of the virus to the host cell. I screened millions of molecules using the in silico methodology and screened for admit properties, drug likeness properties, and narrowed down to a lead compound which can provide a potential antiviral against the SARS-CoV-2 virus, as Dr. Lee mentioned. So that was a really great description, very well-rounded.
All right, so thank you so much, guys. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and shift finalists. We have a couple questions for you, and it starts with, are you eating a well-balanced meal? No, wait, I'm sorry, your parents wanted me to ask that. Wrong question. Oh, here it is. Anika, this was the right one. What's the biggest surprise that you discovered during the collaboration with your mentor?
When I first got paired with my mentor, I was expecting guidance and at the most a couple pointers on how to present my project. But from the first time I met Dr. Lee, I not only gained the expert scientific guidance needed to improve my project, but also the various materials that I need to expand and improve my project. And also with Dr. Lee's help, I was able to learn the importance of collaboration and how important that is to improving your project. And with the help of 3M and Discovery Education and my mentor, Dr. Lee, I was able to improve and better myself and my project in many ways.
All right, so Sam, a question to you now. What's your favorite piece of advice that your mentor has shared?
I think my favorite piece of advice and like the best piece of advice that I received from my mentor is to always persevere despite being stuck. At one point, when I was trying to incorporate unsupervised machine learning into my project, I hit a roadblock and my mentor encouraged me to keep at it despite me not getting the expected results. After many trials, finally, when I saw the confusion matrix and average precision drafts, delighted to see the breath sound patterns being recognized accurately. And I don't think I would have been able to complete such a complicated part of my project without that piece of like encouragement from my mentor.
Excellent. Thank you, Sam. So let's go back to you, Anika. So you have two mentors, two 3M scientists, nonetheless. Very, very incredible scientists that are on the hot seat, right? They're with us. Is there anything you've been meaning to ask them? Anything that maybe you could learn from them? Anything at all?
Yeah, so Dr. Lee and Ms. Caruso, so you've been mentors and you've probably seen many young scientists my age, and from all your scientific experience and all that you've seen as a mentor, what is a common misconception or mistake that young scientists or even younger colleagues tend to make, and what is your best piece of advice to help them overcome this challenge?
All right, I'll take that first. So how long do I have? I have so many things to talk about, but I'll give you my three most important criteria. So first, I see not enough pre-work done. For that, I would advise do the critical assessment prior starting your project. Explore first time what was done, especially when you are working in a company. You need to know what was done and learn from that. That way, you will speed up way much of the development process. You will save time not to reinvent the wheel. Second, I will touch is make sure you know what is the end goal. If commercializations of a product is your end goal, then learn the entire process of what it takes to commercialize a product from the invention to introduction of the product in the market. Invention in the lab is one critical step, but manufacturing at a scale is another major step. It takes a multidisciplinary team to commercialize a product. Put together a team very early on so that you can avoid pitfalls later. Identify the most critical step first and dive into that. Put together a team from the get-go, as I said, and make them involved and address the most critical step of the process. That saves time in case you need to change the course. And third, I would say, share your knowledge as much as you can with others openly. That's how cross-fertilization and innovation happens. And act with urgency, especially in this very fast-moving world. Market is moving very fast. So first to the market wins the war. And being smart and having knowledge are very important, but nothing upstage the hard work. So these are my top three.
Just to add on to that, I would say make sure that you're talking to the right people and talking to a lot of people about your research, because oftentimes we get siloed or we think that we're going down the right path, and it's important to entertain a lot of people's perspectives on what you're working on, because you always get new ideas after you're talking to someone, a lot of times, as you've seen through this mentorship process this summer.
Really, really good advice. Hope you guys are taking notes here. There won't be a test, but make sure you're taking notes here. Good life lessons and wisdom. So, Sam, coming back to you, it's a pretty special opportunity, if you really think about it, to be on a panel here with Mojda. Is there anything maybe you want to ask her?
So yeah, I'm really happy to be here on this panel with Mojda, and it's a really big opportunity to get to interact with her. So I did have a few questions for her, and the first one would be during her time in 3M, which project that she was involved in had the biggest impact on improving health outcomes of people around the globe? And the other question I had is, what does she think about the future of telemedicine, because it relates so closely to my project?
Oh, wow. Those are fantastic questions, Sam. So to answer your first one, it's really hard for me to pick which is the project that has most impacted, or which business that I've run that has most impacted lives. Because as Kyle mentioned, we lead several different businesses within my business group, and every single one of them touches the lives of people in a different way. So in the medical solutions business, we have products that keep patients safe when they go through the surgery to help reduce infections. In our food safety business, We offer testing and diagnostics that make sure that the products that you see on the shelves in the grocery store, they're safe for you to eat. When you look at our separation and purification business, the water that you drink, and also the food, pharmaceuticals and drugs that get produced, the chances are they're using some of our filtration. So it's really hard for me to pick. It's pretty exciting when you're a healthcare fan to be in healthcare in 3M, because we touch lives every day with every single one of the businesses that we have, and they are all exciting businesses. So that was number one. And then telemedicine is extremely important for us. As a matter of fact, this year, where we just refreshed our strategic plan, it has a very, very big component to it, because as you can imagine, the COVID and what's happened and what has come with COVID has very much accelerated all the trends that were already in the healthcare market for us, meaning the care is going to get delivered outside the hospital. Patients want to have access to care in a remote fashion. So telemedicine is a big part of our strategic plan moving forward, and making sure that our products and services can get connected to the clinician as well as to the patients. Very good questions.
I am impressed. Wow, that's definitely a great question. So, Moshe, I think it's fair to say they've put in their homework. I mean, these finalists, they've really spent some time learning. Do you have any questions for them as they've been along this journey?
Yes, I want to ask if they want to come work for 3M when they're done with school. But besides that, no, honestly, I wanted to ask Anika. So obviously COVID is top of mind for all of us. Help us understand how you came up with your project. Was it the aspect that you were researching of the COVID, or something that you read? What was your point of interest in going after this project?
Yeah, thank you for your question, Ms. Majda. A couple of years ago, after researching about the influenza virus's deadly toll on the Spanish flu 1918 pandemic, I became interested in drug discovery and vaccines and viruses. And in spite of our constant battle every year against the flu virus and the annual vaccination and the anti-influenza drugs on the market, there were 60,000 deaths in the USA alone last year. So that's when I began my research on drug discovery and found out about the in silico methodology. And I was amazed at how we could use computational methods to identify and develop potential drug-like molecules to combat these viruses. And after more extensive research, I combined my knowledge of the in silico methodology and the influenza virus to further develop a molecule which could bind to the hemagglutinin protein of the influenza virus and provide a potential antiviral against the virus. I was continuing my research on this project and looking for places to further develop my molecule when the COVID-19 pandemic arose. And after spending so much time researching about pandemics, drug discovery, and viruses, it was crazy to think that I was actually living through something like that. Because of the immense severity of the COVID-19 pandemic and the drastic impact it's made on the world in less than a year, I decided to change my route and target the SARS-CoV-2 virus. And therefore, this summer, I worked to find a novel anti-coronavirus drug-like molecule targeting the spike protein of the SARS-CoV-2 virus that could potentially provide an antiviral against the COVID-19 pandemic.
That is impressive. That is impressive. Thank you for the work that you're doing. So Sam, can you tell me what is so far the most exciting part of being a finalist on the Young Scientist Challenge?
So I think the most exciting part of being a finalist has been the journey of transforming my prototype into a functional hardware software solution which can capture and transmit breath sounds with the help of my mentors and 3M scientists. Also, interacting with my fellow finalists and learning about their innovations was equally exciting, as it was a great opportunity to make new friends. Without my mentors and 3M scientists, I don't think any of this huge transformation that my project has gone through would be possible.
Great, thank you. Thank you. So I turn it over back to you, Kyle.
Thank you, and really, really great questions, guys. So speaking of questions, we're monitoring that chat room. Feel free if you have any questions for the finalists, go ahead and post those there. We do have a couple. And speaking of just inspiration, because I don't know about you guys, I've been inspired as I've been listening. I would love to know, and we'll start with the mentors, but we're going to get to the finalists as well. This is a answers from all four of you, and that is, who is your biggest science inspiration? That's what I would really like to know. Like, what got you into science? Who is that person? Why don't we go ahead and start with Mary? Would you be willing to start?
Sure. Mine maybe is a little bit different, but the reason I really got interested in science is the love of space and the astronaut program. So my favorite scientist is Sally Ride, and just seeing the type of work that she's been able to do and make history as an American female in space really inspired me to pursue the sciences and pursue to be an astronaut. It's still one of the dreams that I have today. So that would be my answer.
Excellent. Mafusa?
So when I was young, I was afraid of dark, and I would get very sad when it is dark. Then when I found out Thomas Edison invented the light bulb, that's it. He is my favorite scientist. Not only that, he is one of the greatest scientists of all, because not only he invented, he also commercialized, which is a like incredible feast. It's so hard to commercialize a product with so that consumer can use it, low cost. This is another step of invention. So that's the reason I still believe that, you know, I cannot find any other scientist like him. He has done so much for the science.
I love it. Okay. Anika, would you go next?
Yeah, sure. For me, it was my grandpa. He was actually a chemist, and he used to always tell me to learn about the periodic table of elements and all those things. And over time, with his help, I just got interested in science, particularly like biology. And yeah, I just grew to love it.
I love that. Sam, what's your answer? Who inspired you?
So I think my biggest science inspiration would probably be somebody who's really recent. He's like probably in the news a lot. Both, I have two of them. Dr. Anthony Fauci for the COVID-19 pandemic, and Elon Musk, because Elon Musk, he pioneered a bunch of new innovations that a lot of people didn't know they needed. But now if we look outside, you can see almost you can see his innovations everywhere, all around us. And for Dr. Anthony Fauci, I mean, he has led us through this pandemic in the early stages when the case counts kept going up and up and up. Like, he reassured us that they would be okay, and they took steps to take action and implemented the lockdown, which really saved millions of lives around the country.
Wow, I love that. Very nice. Thank you, Sam. Okay, so last question here before we have to wrap. This is an audience question for the finalists. What advice do you have for students who may be interested in applying for the 3M Young Scientist Challenge next year? Anika, what advice do you have?
I say just go for it. I mean, if you think and if you have confidence in your project and you think it can go places, just go for it. There's nothing you can lose, you know? It's just an opportunity, and if you have an opportunity, just definitely take it.
Okay, Sam, going to you.
Yeah, I agree with Anika. It's always really good to enter your project into a competition, even if you don't win or anything. It's a really great way to get feedback on your project, to see what you can do to improve and how you can improve it. And it really worked for me because I wasn't sure if my project would get in the beginning. I really wasn't sure. But based on the feedback I received from my mentors and 3M scientists that I worked with throughout this summer mentorship, my project has really taken the next step forward. So you have nothing to lose.
Great advice. Definitely a theme of this evening, which is you can't substitute the work. And so just go do it, put in the work, and you'll get the results. So thank you so much, so much for your answers, for joining us, finalists and mentors. I'm going to pass this to Mojda for some closing remarks, but before I do, we just want to remind you, this is just a little sneak peek so that you can get to know our finalists and their mentors, and we just want to thank each of them for their work and for their willingness to share this evening. So Mojda, a few closing remarks, and thank you to you, of course, for tuning in and for everyone that's watching us this evening.
Yes, it's been my pleasure. Thank you, Kyle. So I want to thank you, Kyle, and I want to thank the finalists and their mentors. So let's give them all a big round of applause. Virtual, yes. And so I have a few reminders that I wanted to share with the audience before we close the session. So first, I'm excited to share that the Improving Lives Award voting period starts actually on Monday, September 28th, and it's going to go through Friday, October the 9th. And the Improving Lives Award gives the public the opportunity to be able to vote on the project that most, impacts lives. Okay, so you can cast your votes once per day at youngscientistlab.com. And lastly, you can catch our finalists again on Tuesday, October 13th from 1 to 3:30 p.m. Central Time as they virtually present their final presentations to a panel of judges in hopes of becoming the next America's Top Young Scientists. And the invite and details can be found on 3M.go. 3M Go, sorry. So thanks to all of the special guests. This has been a wonderful evening, and thank you everyone for joining, and good luck to both of you. Bye-bye.